Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka warned as 24-year-old thread eyes top spot. Let's rewind to that electric London afternoon. As Wimbledon buzzed to life, two names echoed the loudest. Coco Gauff, America's shining star fresh off her second Grand Slam win at Roland Garros, and Aryna Sabalenka, the ferocious Belarusian with two Slam finals this year. But fate had other plans. Gauff fell early and Sabalenka in the semis, paving the path for unexpected finalists, Iga Swiatek and Amanda Anisimova. Swiatek, with a shaky grasp past, bulldozed her way to the title. Anisimova, in her maiden Slam final, was overwhelmed by the moment as the Pole dismantled her 6-0 in just 57 minutes. Now, Serena Williams' ex-coach, Rick Matchey, backs the surging 24-year-old to steal the season's thunder. In a bold tweet from his ex-handle, legendary coach Rick Matchey fired off a prediction recently that sent tremors through the tennis world. It will happen sooner than later, as Iga will again be number one on the planet because her mind is made of granite. Not a lot of points to defend, and the Polish Punisher will be number one by year's end. A statement packed with certainty, and with the numbers lining up, Matchey's prophecy may not be far from the truth. Aryna Sabalenka currently sits atop the WTA mountain, boasting an iron grip on the number one ranking. Since dethroning Swiatek last October, she's gone on a warpath, racking up 38 straight weeks as world number one. Her reward? Becoming only the second woman after Serena Williams to smash through the 12,000-point barrier, a feat that speaks volumes about her dominance on court. Serena did it first in June 2013, but Swiatek wasn't far behind. She crested the 11,000 mark in May 2024. However, it was Sabalenka who pulled ahead after Wimbledon this year, and her total now stands at a staggering 12,420 points, leading the second-ranked Coco Gauff by a towering 4,751 points, with Swiatek another 856 behind. That kind of lead won't evaporate overnight, meaning Sabalenka is locked in at the top, at least for the next few months. But the pressure's coming, and it's coming hard. Sabalenka's late 2024 run was nothing short of legendary. Titles in Cincinnati, Wuhan, and the U.S. Open loaded her with 5,025 points to defend. Sprinkle in deep runs at the City DC Open, the China Open, and the WTA Finals, and the Belarusian has a mountain to protect. And while she'll be sitting atop that mountain for at least a couple of months, things will get tricky following the North American swing. Coco Gauff, meanwhile, faces a tricky slope of her own. The reigning French Open queen will see 3,060 points shaved off by season's end. She owned the China Open and the WTA Finals last year, picking up 2,300 points combined, and went deep in Wuhan. But her form outside of that? Shaky. Early exits in New York and the two North American WTA 1000s make her vulnerable heading into the most crucial stretch of the calendar. Enter Iga Swiatek, the newest Wimbledon champion and the silent stalker in this rankings war. Her position? Surprisingly solid. She's only set to lose 830 points from last year's U.S. Open quarterfinal and the WTA Finals. Her Cincy points already vanished after a failed drug test, and she skipped Beijing and Wuhan altogether due to the suspension. When the dust settles, Sabalenka would stand at 7,395, Swiatek at 5,983, and Gauff at 4,609. That leaves a manageable 1,412-point gap between the Pole and the Belarusian. Sabalenka remains the frontrunner, no doubt, but the race is alive. If she falters, and if Swiatek finds her rhythm on the hard courts, the narrative could flip. The Polish Punisher is primed for the kill, ready to take her shot. As the season tips into its decisive swing, Swiatek isn't just riding her Wimbledon high. She's planning her assault. With her North American hardcourt strategy, now revealed by insiders, the Pole has her eyes set on redemption. This isn't over. It's just heating up. Insider reveals Iga Swiatek's path towards reaching the U.S. Open. In a recent chat with Talk FM, Iga Swiatek's trusted fitness coach, Maciej Ryszczuk, laid bare the battle plan. On Sunday and Monday we return to training. And during the week we fly to Montreal to get used to the time change and train on the courts there. Then the standard Cincinnati and U.S. Open, he said. The message was clear. The pole isn't cooling off after Wimbledon. She's going full throttle into hard-court warfare. Montreal and Cincinnati, two brutal WTA 1000 arenas, are her proving grounds before the storm hits New York. With the lights of Flushing Meadows looming large, these tournaments aren't just pit stops, they're power plays. And here's the kicker. Swiatek starts from scratch. Her 2024 points in both cities were scratched due to mandatory appearance shortfalls, leaving a clean slate and 2,000 ranking points dangling like ripe fruit. But time's not a luxury. The Montreal showdown ignites on July 28th, and Cincinnati follows close behind. Swiatek, of course, will be seated high and get a bye into round 2, but there's no grace period. Every match will feel like a final. Every point will be magnified. The cushion is gone, the pressure sky high. Still, the pole arrives with confidence, sharpened by a grass court masterclass. That double bagel Wimbledon decimation wasn't just a title, it was a statement. The mental walls are fortified. The hunger is roaring. So, with fresh legs, a fearless mind, and points up for grabs, can Iga Swiatek rise and rip the #1 crown back? What do you think? Coco Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka warned as 24-year-old thread eyes top spot. The summer sun beamed down on the courts of Toronto, casting long shadows across the hard surface as the tennis world buzzed with murmurs of a new storm brewing. At 24, Aryna Petrova wasn't a household name yet, but those who had followed the WTA circuit closely, especially in the last 12 months, knew that she wasn't just another rising star. She was the threat. And now, as the U.S. Open Series began, Coco Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka, two of the sport's biggest names, had been put on notice. The rise of the silent storm. Aryna Petrova was born in Tbilisi, Georgia, but raised on the red clay courts of Barcelona. Her game was a rare blend of Spanish patience and Eastern European power, a hybrid style that left opponents scrambling. For years, she lingered around the top 50, plagued by injuries, self-doubt, and a stubborn refusal to play the political game of fame. But something had changed. In the past year, Petrova had quietly amassed wins over several top 10 players. She defeated Iga Swiatek in a windy semifinal in Dubai, bested Jessica Pegula in a grueling 3-setter in Madrid, and stunned Coco Gauff in straight sets during the quarterfinals of Rome. Each time, her composure was chilling. No fist pumps. No primal screams. Just a cold stare at the ball boy for the next serve. She plays like she's seen the future, Coco Gauff had said after their match. It's like she already knows where I'm going to hit. Sabalenka, never one to mince words, had described Petrova's backhand as a bullet you never see coming. That loss in the semifinals of Stuttgart still haunted the Belarusian powerhouse. Petrova had absorbed Sabalenka's pace and returned it with interest, robbing her of rhythm, stripping her confidence, shot by shot. Warnings from the court. Tennis legend Martina Navratilova had seen enough. "This isn't a warning," she said during a panel in London. "This is a final call. If Coco and Aryna want to hold on to their top spots, they need to adapt fast. Alina's coming, and she's not going to wait her turn." The stats backed her up. Petrova had jumped from world number 46 to number 7 in just 8 months. She led the WTA in breakpoints converted and had the highest win percentage in deciding sets. Her fitness had improved dramatically. Credit to a new training team based in the French Alps, and she seemed to thrive in tense moments. "She plays chess while everyone else is playing checkers," said former champion Justine Henin. "Her shot selection is surgical. It's not just talent, it's intellect." Yet Petrova remained humble. When asked about the growing noise around her during a post-match interview in Berlin, she simply replied, "Rankings don't matter until you're number 1. That's where I'm going." Inside Coco and Aryna's camp, Coco Gauff wasn't shaken, but she was stirred. After losing to Petrova in Rome, she spent 3 weeks working with her coach on a new slice variation and on speeding up her serve. The game was changing, and she knew it. "She's forcing all of us to evolve," Coco admitted. "And honestly, I love that. Pressure makes diamonds, right? But there was more to it. Coco's team was carefully studying Petrova's matches, using AI-assisted video analysis to detect patterns in her footwork and shot distribution. It was no longer enough to play your best. You had to outthink your opponent, too. Aryna Sabalenka, on the other hand, responded in typical Aryna fashion, fire with fire. After a brutal loss to Petrova in Stuttgart, she entered the next 5 tournaments with a point to prove, smashing winners and silencing doubters. She even added a mental conditioning coach to her team, someone who specialized in handling strategic threats like Petrova. She's like a mirror, Aryna said. Whatever weakness you have, she reflects it back at you. That's what makes her dangerous. Still, in the back rooms of the WEA locker rooms, players whispered about one thing: Petrova's calm. It was unnerving. She didn't blink during tiebreaks. She didn't react to line calls. When a hawk flew onto the court during a match in Montreal, she didn't even look up. She's ice, Sabalenka told reporters. But ice can melt under pressure. We'll see. U.S. Open showdown looms. With the U.S. Open fast approaching, anticipation reached fever pitch. Petrova had climbed to world number 4. Sabalenka remained at number 2, while Gauff held strong at number 3. The draw teased at possible quarterfinal and semifinal matchups that fans could only dream of. Gauff versus Petrova, Sabalenka versus Petrova, even a potential final between the Belarusian and the Georgian. Tickets vanished within hours. Commentators called it the most exciting women's field in a decade. Former stars returned to the broadcast booth just to witness it firsthand. Then came the draw. Coco Gauff and Aryna Petrova landed in the same quarter. Social media exploded. The quarterfinal that shook Arthur Ashe. Under the lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium, 24,000 fans fell silent as Coco Gauff and Aryna Petrova stepped onto the court. It was 8 p.m. prime time. A swirling wind danced around the arena. The energy was electric. Coco struck first, blazing forehands, agile net play, backed by a roaring crowd. She took the first set 6-3. Petrova didn't flinch. The second set was a clinic. Petrova slowed the tempo, added slice, redirected power. She won 6-1 in just 28 minutes. The third set was war. At 5-5 deuce, Coco hit a drop shot that spun wickedly toward the net. Petrova lunged, flicked it cross-court, and followed up with a breathtaking backhand winner that painted the line. The stadium erupted. Petrova served out the match 7-5. She didn't raise her arms. She didn't smile. She simply turned, walked to the net, and shook Coco's hand with the calm of a veteran. Coco looked devastated but respectful. She was better tonight, she admitted. I'll be back. Sabalenka's final stand. Petrova reached the final, where Aryna Sabalenka awaited, her eyes fiery, jaw set, ready for revenge. The final was nothing short of legendary. 2 hours and 48 minutes of thunderous rallies, epic momentum swings, and raw emotion. In the end, Petrova edged out the win 7-6, 4-6, 6-4. She collapsed to her knees. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Finally, the ice had cracked. The new queen. With the win, Petrova climbed to world number 1, the first player from Georgia ever to achieve it. A new era had begun, and while Coco Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka were still giants of the game, they now had company at the top. A cool, calculating, fearless 24-year-old who had carved her path with silence and steel. Petrova's message in the press room was brief. I respect Coco. I respect Aryna. But respect doesn't mean fear, she said. The tennis world listened. The war at the top was far from over. But one thing was now clear. The throne no longer belonged to just 2. There was a third shadow on the court, and her name was Aryna Petrova.